Every January we see predictions from the likes of Nostradamus, Edgar Cayce, Vanga and others, spelling prophecies of doom for our world. Have these predictions any validity? If so, why were they given? How can they be interpreted? Join us to find out more. Now, what you tend to find when these things are carted out at January of whatever year there has been, if a prophecy hasn't come true, then it kind of defaults over to the next year.
Yeah.
You're looking at the major ones that always keep coming up are Nostradamus, Vanga, Malachi the Pope prophecies, the Edgar Cayce prophecies, obviously things like biblical prophecies and that sort of thing. There's a lot of money being made by perpetuating these doomsday prophecies, and there's a lot of fascination about these things. Now, I do believe in precognition. I've experienced precognitions myself, but one of the points that I want to make with regards to this is a lot of these prophecies will propagate fear, and this I don't believe is what the original intent of these things are. And you could argue that the reason why so many of these prophecies turn out wrong is because perhaps they've been preempted because of, the prophecy being there in the beginning. And I suppose you could make an argument for that. But you can also make an argument for the frame of reference of which the prophet themselves, or the person who supposedly had the precognition of what they're actually experiencing and what they're seeing as real world, or what they might, the one that struck me was Edgar Cayce said Armageddon will happen in 1999. Well, Armageddon did happen in 1999. It was just a film. So, he could have been seeing the film.
The world as we know it is in a bit of a state. Whether we like it or not, there is some really pretty negative things going on in the world. Okay? Now, these prophecies are what you would call warnings. Now, if you carry on down this road, this will happen. That's what I think is more in tune in these prophecies than what they're actually, their accuracy.
Yeah.
They are warnings. They are to say, because I've actually got one of the Nostradamus predictions here in front of me, which I would like to talk about, but they can be attributed, which we talked about, they can be attributed to you can find correlation in them for every year they're out. This Nostradamus prediction is from the quatrain, starts with, in the city of God there will be a great thunder. Now, the city of God, we're talking, that can be Mecca, that can be Jerusalem, there's plenty of places that could be described. Okay, the next lines are, two brothers are torn apart by chaos, while the fortress endeavours. Now, there's two very, very, very famous brothers. They're world famous, right? And that is Harry and William. Now, Harry at the moment wants to go independent from the royal family and make his own way in the world. And that has caused such controversy. The news on that, his uncle was supposed to be in ties with Epstein, right? And that is pretty, and I don't know if anybody's watched his interview, but it's pretty weird, right? It's up there with R. Kelly and stuff. It's pretty damning. Now, it says two brothers are torn apart by chaos. The royal family's going through a bit of a thing at the moment, but it says the fortress will endure. Then it goes on to say the great leader will succumb. Right? Now, there's plenty of great leaders in the world that we could attribute that to. Okay? Because we're thinking this was predicted back in the 1400s, right? There's many, there isn't any great leaders, because I don't really know of any, to tell you the truth. But they, you can attribute that to a leading figure. And then it says the third big war the third big world war will begin when the big city is burning. When it comes to these predictions, they can be used for or against. It's like during World War II, where the Germans dropped Nostradamus on the French, where it's one of the quatrains where they said, you might as well surrender because we win. we're just going to wipe you out. And they did. That was part of their mindset of surrendering, of just going, well, it's been predicted. We can either do or die. I mean, I believe the Nostradamus, when he wrote them in a way that only good people would ever be able to interpret them. Right? I believe that in my heart. That makes sense to me in my world of like spirit communication and all the meditation I've done. And bad people have proven that they would use these things in a negative manner.
If you believe that precognition is possible, you have to look at the precognition or the person who precognised in the terms of their own world, their own language, in what they know and understand. And this is where you see all these biblical people saying the end times are coming, blah 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 blah, and these preachers and evangelicals. At the end of the day, everyone should be free to follow the beliefs that they have. But if you are going, you have to take anything with regards to the paranormal or any form of study. You have to accept the possibility that you could be wrong. And the way of doing that is you have to look at things in the frame of reference of what that person would have known and understood. Like I said about Edgar Cayce. At the end of the day, I've had prophetic dreams and I've had prophetic experiences, but I don't quite know exactly what it is that happens until it transpires, and I get that sort of I remember certain bits, and I have recorded and documented certain bits, but when you have that experience, you don't fully understand it because you're seeing a jump in time. You're seeing, if you see yourself, if I seen myself, say, 10 years ago doing this podcast, sat in a room with a microphone, I'd be like, well, I can't see myself doing that because I'm quite shy. 10 years ago, I was quite a shy person. I was only starting to begin to actually find my own voice at that point. I was, 27, 28, something like that. So if I look back then and see myself talking about this stuff and doing the things I did, I wouldn't have believed it. But I'm not that person I was back then. I have grown and I've evolved and I have changed over time. So let's have a look at some of these predictions then, shall we? So we're going to look at Nostradamus first, okay? So apparently we're looking at the outbreak of World War III. I don't believe World War III is going to happen, personally. I don't know why, I just don't. I don't feel it's going to be a world war. But that's my opinion. That's my opinion. That's just me. Perhaps it's wishful thinking, but that's just me.
Yeah, nobody wants to think that. Nobody. The way the world is going at the moment, if things continue to be, if you keep poking it with a stick, right, there's a chance it will harm you. That, unfortunately, is the way the world is going at the moment. And America have just made the biggest arms deal in history. Now that arms deal is worthless if there isn't a reason to use them arms. Now that's scary, and that unfortunately is fact. That's not a prediction. That's science fact.
It's the same with Britain selling arms to Saudi Arabia. Well, Margaret Thatcher used to sell arms to Chile back in where they were under a ruthless dictator, which she heralded as the poster boy of democracy, as a misquote slightly. But not going on a tangent, Vladimir Putin will be assassinated and Donald Trump will suffer from a mysterious disease.
Yes.
Big financial crisis. Well, that's one has been, I think, ever since 2009 we've had the big financial crisis that's been...
Yes.
2020, England will have a new monarch, apparently. Now, this is the one that kind of contradicts the one that you said about the two brothers, because a lot of interpreters have said that the new king would be Harry because of the actual... because of the way in which the quatrain is written. This is the other thing. A lot of these articles do not source the original quatrains. If you're going to look into this, you need to find the original texts. Baba Vanga is another one that is wheeled out doing these yearly sort of predictions. She is famous for being the Nostradamus of the Balkans. Lost her vision after an accident with a tornado when she was very, very young. and was able to see apparently people's lives from birth through to death. Gained quite a lot of notoriety by consulting, world leaders, especially in the Eastern Bloc countries and Russia. Apparently predicted that Barack Obama would be president, that the 44th president would be a black person, or person of African American descent. I do apologise. Apparently predicted 9/11. She said that Europe will cease to exist. Now, do we mean the continent or the actual European Union? Apparently there's going to be Muslims invading Europe. Is she seeing the refugee crisis from Syria?
Everything that she would have said would have been interpreted. I talked about that earlier, which wasn't being recorded, but about the Nostradamus quatrains. There's only a handful of people in the world. One of them happens to live in Abercynon, which is just up the road, who can read and speak 14th century French. And there was one of the predictions, because of a hyphen, they took it from the King of Terror, right, which they took it from like something dreadful, destroying the world. And this guy said, no, he said there's a hyphen, there's supposed to be a hyphen in there, and that means the King of Terror, which is the teller of the truth. That Nostradamus could have been referencing the internet, YouTube, any sort of outlet for alternative news. The teller of the truth. That changes that from the end of the world to something you can go, that kind of makes sense. That's not so bad, the teller of the truth. Because, if the world has to change, somebody has to stand up and say, wait a minute, have you seen what's going on? You know what I mean? It's in that sort of context. Yeah. I want to be the people that the future looks back on and says, oh my God, they did it. They changed the world. Whatever sacrifices we make, and they're only going to be personal ones, they're not going to be life ones, whatever sacrifices they make, they did it for us. And that's what I want to be part of. And I will continue to try and do that in my lifetime. I want to be part of it. I want people to see. I want leaders to see. Be the leaders that are remembered not for the stupid things they do, not for building walls around people, or for cutting people off, or for making people believe in something they believe in, out for being the best people they can be.
Did you enjoy the video? If so, please give us a like and subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comment section below. And don't forget to join us every Wednesday at 8 PM for the Now Debate. Also, you can take a look at some of our other videos on screen now. I am Jared from Paranormal Now. That has been Richard Oliver, and thank you very much for joining us.